Hey fam, Dragon Slayer 62 OK here. I got some urgent breaking news. This is an emergency deal. This is for TikTok and YouTube. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. The government is going to take all of your money and do what they want to do with it. Here, let's just get here, and this brother here will show you what's going on here real quick.
If you woke up this morning and checked your Wells Fargo app to pay rent, to buy groceries, to fill your gas tank, and you saw a number you have never seen before, you are not alone. You are not crazy. You witnessed something that the media is calling a glitch. I am calling it what it actually is: a preview, a stress test, a controlled demolition of trust in the fractional reserve banking system. Because what you saw on your screen at 6:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time was not your account balance. You saw zero, not low funds, not insufficient balance, 0.00. Your direct deposit, the paycheck you worked for, the money your employer sent at 11:59 p.m. last night vanished, deleted. And if you called the customer service line, you got a busy signal. If you went to Twitter, you saw 47,000 other people posting screenshots of the same thing. Account balance $0. Available balance $0. And the bank, Wells Fargo, the fourth largest bank in the United States, with 1.9 trillion in assets, stayed completely silent for 6 hours and 13 minutes. They did not acknowledge the problem until 10:46 a.m. 6 hours. While millions of people were having panic attacks trying to figure out if they could pay their rent, while landlords were threatening evictions, while people were stranded at gas stations with empty tanks because their debit cards were declined. And when the bank finally released a statement, do you know what they said? Technical glitch, overnight processing error, we are working to resolve it. That is the official story. That is what Bloomberg is repeating. That is what CNBC is copying and pasting into their teleprompter. Technical glitch. I am going to spend the next 40 minutes explaining to you why that is a lie, why this was not a glitch, why this was a liquidity event, and why you are watching in real time the early warning signs of a systemic banking failure that is going to make 2008 look like a dress rehearsal. Let me start with the timeline because the timestamps are the smoking gun. The first wave of complaints on Down Detector started spiking at 4:33 a.m. Eastern, not 9:30 when the market opens, not during business hours. 4:33 inches the morning, while you were asleep, while the algos were running the overnight batch processing. And if you go to Down Detector right now and you look at the graph, you will see a vertical line. It does not slope up gradually like a normal outage. It goes from 0 reports to 34,000 reports in 11 minutes. That is not a glitch. That is a system-wide failure. That is every single transaction that was supposed to settle overnight hitting a wall. And here is what they are not telling you. Wells Fargo processes direct deposits in batches. Your employer sends the money to the automated clearinghouse, the ACH network, at the end of the business day. The ACH holds it overnight. And then at approximately 3 a.m. Eastern, the ACH releases the funds to your bank. Your bank is supposed to credit your account instantly. That is the system. That is how it has worked for 30 years. Except this morning, at 3 a.m., when the ACH tried to push billions of dollars into Wells Fargo accounts, something broke. The system could not process the credits, and instead of your account showing the correct balance, it defaulted to 0. Now the bank is saying this is a technical error. I am saying this is a liquidity hole. Because if the money was there, if Wells Fargo had the reserves to cover those deposits, the system would not have crashed. The fact that it crashed means the ledger could not balance. The fact that it took 6 hours to fix means they were scrambling to find the money. And the fact that they are calling it a glitch means they are lying to you. I need you to do something right now before YouTube buries this video. I need you to hit the like button. I am not asking you to do this because I want engagement. I am asking you to do this because the algorithm is designed to suppress content that questions the banking system. I have seen videos with 10,000 views get shadow banned the moment they mention liquidity crisis. I have seen channels get demonetized for explaining fractional reserve banking. If you want this information to reach people before they lose everything, you need to force this video onto the recommended feed. The like button is the only weapon you have against the content moderation teams at Google who are paid to protect Wells Fargo's reputation. Smash it, right now, because in 6 hours, this video might be gone. And the people who...
Hey, brothers and sisters, don't worry about it. I will definitely post a link down below in the descriptions of things so that you guys won't be left out. I've been watching this guy here for a while, and I'm telling you, he knows what he's talking about. So let's listen to him. I'm telling you, they're trying to steal our money, man. Like I say, he who's got some money in your pocket, like right now, you're gonna be rich. Let's watch what brothers have to say here.
Did not see it are going to be the ones standing in line at the branch when the doors are locked. Let me walk you through what fractional reserve banking actually is, because this is the foundation of the scam. When you deposit $1,000 into your Wells Fargo checking account, you believe that money is sitting in a vault with your name on it. It is not. The bank takes your $1,000 and they lend out $900 to someone else. They keep $100 in reserve. That is the fractional reserve requirement, 10%. So your $1,000 is now supporting $900 of loans plus your original deposit. But here is the trick. The person who borrowed the $900 deposits it into their account at the same bank. Now the bank takes that $900 and lends out $810. They keep $90 in reserve. And the cycle continues. Your original $1,000 has now created $1,000 plus $900 plus $810 in total deposits. The money multiplied, except it did not actually multiply. It is all debt. It is all IOUs. And the only thing holding the system together is trust. Trust that when you go to the ATM, the money will be there. Trust that when your employer sends your paycheck, it will clear. Trust that the bank has enough reserves to cover withdrawals. But what happens when 10 million people try to withdraw their money at the same time? What?
This is how you buy crypto in
gun.
seconds, not minutes. Step 1, download Kraken. Step 2,
Hi, my name is Floyd, and I've been building credit with Kickoff. Every time I try to
Sorry about
apply
this,
for a
guys.
card,
I don't know how
always get
to
denied.
edit commercials out. But,
What happens when the ACH tries to credit $10 billion in direct deposits and the bank does not have $10 billion in reserves? The system crashes. The ledger cannot balance, and your account shows zero. That is what happened this morning. That is the technical glitch. The glitch is that you found out the money was never really there. Now let me show you the math, because this is where it gets terrifying. Wells Fargo has approximately 70 million customer accounts. Let us assume that 10 million of those accounts were expecting a direct deposit this morning. The average direct deposit in the United States is $1,873. That is census data. So 10 million accounts times $1,873 equals $18.73 billion. That is the amount of money that was supposed to hit Wells Fargo accounts overnight. 18 billion. Now let us say the bank was short. Let us say they only had 16 billion in reserves available to cover those deposits. That is a $2.73 billion hole. Not a big deal for a bank with 1.9 trillion in assets, right? Wrong. Because those assets are not liquid. Those assets are mortgages. Those assets are corporate loans. Those assets are treasury bonds that are underwater because interest rates went from 0 to 5%. If Wells Fargo tried to sell those assets to raise cash, they would have to sell them at a loss. And if they sell at a loss, their balance sheet collapses. So instead of selling assets, they do what every failing bank does. They delay the payments, they float the books, they tell you there was a glitch, and they will fix it by end of day. And while you are panicking about rent, they are borrowing money from the Federal Reserve discount window at 4.5% interest to plug the hole. They are using your deposits as collateral to borrow more money to cover the deposits they do not have. It is a Ponzi scheme. And the moment people realize it is a Ponzi scheme, the moment people start pulling cash out of the system, the entire structure collapses. That is what happened to Northern Rock in 2007. That is what happened to Silicon Valley Bank in 2023. And that is what is happening to Wells Fargo right now, except they are telling you it is a glitch. I need you to go to the comments right now and tell me what you are seeing. Are you a Wells Fargo customer? Did your balance go to zero this morning? Did your direct deposit clear yet? I need field reports. I need you to be my eyes on the ground, because the mainstream media is not going to cover this honestly. They are going to run the press release from Wells Fargo and move on to the next story. But if I see 500 comments from people saying their money is still missing, if I see people saying they went to the branch and the teller told them the system is still down, that is evidence. That is proof that this is not resolved. That is proof that the liquidity problem is bigger than they are admitting. So go to the comments. Tell me your city. Tell me your account status. Tell me what the bank told you when you called, because we are building a map of the failure in real time. And when this happens again, when this happens at Bank of America or Chase or US Bank, you are going to know exactly what to look for. You are going to recognize the pattern, and you are going to get your money out before the doors lock. Now let me explain why this is not just a Wells Fargo problem. This is a systemic problem, because Wells Fargo does not operate in a vacuum. They are connected to every other bank through the interbank lending market. If Wells Fargo needs cash, they borrow it from JP Morgan. If JP Morgan needs cash, they borrow it from Citibank. If Citibank needs cash, they borrow it from the Federal Reserve. It is a web. And if one node in that web fails, the entire system freezes. This is called counterparty risk. And it is the risk that the media does not want you to understand, because once you understand counterparty risk, you realize that your money is not safe anywhere in the digital banking system. Let me give you an example. In 2008, Lehman Brothers collapsed on a Sunday night. By Monday morning, every bank in the world that had lent money to Lehman Brothers was insolvent, not because they made bad bets, but because they were owed money by a counterparty that could not pay. The risk cascaded, the contagion spread, and the Federal Reserve had to print $700 billion to stop the entire system from imploding. That was counterparty risk. That was the liquidity cascade. And it started with one bank failing to meet its obligations. Now, fast forward to today. Wells Fargo cannot process direct deposits. Why? Because they do not have the reserves. Where are the reserves? They're tied up in underwater bonds. Why are the bonds underwater? Because the Federal Reserve raised interest rates from 0 to 5.33% in 18 months. That is the fastest rate hike cycle in 40 years. And every single bank in America is sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars in unrealized losses on their bond portfolios. They cannot sell the bonds without taking a loss. They cannot take a loss without triggering a bank run. So they hold the bonds and pray that nothing breaks, except something just broke. Wells Fargo just broke. And if Wells Fargo is broken, how many other banks are one bad day away from the same technical glitch? Let me show you the data, because the data does not lie. According to the FDIC, as of Q3 2025, U.S. banks are sitting on $512 billion in unrealized losses on their bond portfolios. $512 billion. That is $500 billion in losses that are not marked to market. They are hidden. They are off the balance sheet. And the only reason the banks have not collapsed is because the FDIC changed the accounting rules to let them pretend the losses do not exist. It is called held-to-maturity accounting. If you promise to hold the bond until it matures, you do not have to recognize the loss. You can carry it at par value. But here is the problem. If depositors start withdrawing cash, the bank has to sell the bonds early. And the moment they sell, the loss becomes...
This is how an unrecognized high IQ looks at men. Constant over.
All right, guys, I'm going to get this out there because, like I say, there ain't much time. I'll get it printed right up as fast as I can. Like I say, I'll leave a link in the bottom down here so you can go do your own research now. Go do your own homework. I'm telling you, this is like the third video that I've seen from the same brother and probably some of his relation. Matter of fact, they look a lot alike. And, yeah, somebody, even buddy of mine, said, man, get all your money out you can. But like I say, if you try to get out anything more than $500 out of an ATM, they're going to flag it. You ain't going to get anything out. So I suggest for those that need more than that, they go inside the bank and have some kind of legit reason. Otherwise, they ain't going to allow it to. Anyhow, this is your brother Dragon Slayer 62 OK. I've seen this, and you guys are the first ones I thought about. So I'll get that right out there. Hold your head up. Don't worry. Heavenly Father's got you, and I love you, and we'll be back soon. Peace in, guys.